they basically just, when I say go in on me, they just had, like, if you went through the transcript, so to speak, of everything we've ever said about them and everything, they just would pick one little tiny defect in the armor to be like, oh, what about this exact tiny point? And it's like lawyers, the way they would have it formulated when you ask that very specific question. Right, but what I'm saying is they hit on the spot. So I'm like, damn, like what they broke down, I felt like I can see why they felt that I was disrespecting them. You know what I mean?
And so what did they make you apologize for?
For, like, what Disco said, basically like me trying to be in the middle, but babyface all sides, basically. Right. And they thought that was an inappropriate thing to do. And you know what I mean? They're, you know what I'm saying? All I could do is take that lesson, you know?
Yeah. I can't wait to hear this.
I didn't feel like it was as brutal. I don't know what they did in editing or whatever.
God, are you serious?
Maybe they took out the nice parts. There was a few nice parts.
Let's just go right to it then. Let's just listen to it.
And now back to Killing the Town.
What a no.
Cyrus, I believe we have Retro ECW to do, but you wanted to bring in Kevin Gill first?
Yeah, that's right. You know, you don't want to only have top talent on the show. Sometimes you got to have the So here you go.
All right, let's get Kevin Gill on the line.
Okay, well, we're really excited to have one of the people from the quote-unquote flagship show of the Jericho Network. Not too sure about that part, but Kevin Gill, double OG, as they say, from the Konnan show. Kevin, welcome. Good to see you.
Wow, great to be here, man. It's an honor to be on Keeping It. I was going to say Keeping It.
Yeah, of course. You know, don't worry, Lance. We'll edit that out. Now, listen, I just want to get right into it. And I've been on record as saying I think I've actually put you over. You know, I've compared you to one of the top pop stars of the 90s, Moby, with whom you bear a striking resemblance.
And Moby also has a connection to the hardcore scene, so perhaps we're connected in more ways than one, although I am not Moby.
You never know. And I've also put over the fact that you enjoy your fair trade tofu and everything else. So, you know, we were doing this now. But I got to say, and normally my irritation with your show and with Konnan's show stops and ends at the moron Glenn Gilberti. But this week I actually heard, and this is the part, and I really went hard on you a little while ago for abusing the Jabron from Russo show. But this is the part, Kevin, that I think I have a problem. And the problem is you're a bit of a spot picker. You kind of ride the fence, you kind of, you know, blow with the wind or whatever. And what I heard this week, and we're going to play the audio right now.
But see, what happens is this says things that are attributed to me. This goes back to a gentleman named Frank or Jed Frankfurter on Twitter. He tweeted that KG and Disco teamed up to battle the suckers Lance Storm and Cyrus. And then I said, damn, dropping the CS bomb on Lance Storm and Cyrus. Is it very disrespectful? On point. And that's what Cyrus then responded to, prepare to be stossled. So I want to clarify, I didn't say, I would never call Lance Storm or Cyrus suckers. I don't necessarily.
What you're doing is you're backing down from a fight.
Bro, you did kind of bury them, and now you're like.
I'm saying is I stand by everything I said, but I wouldn't call them a cocksucker. To me, that's going too far.
That's like saying, are you a hoe or not? Say the message again that you tweeted them.
Dropping the CS bomb on Lance Storm and Cyrus over huge. Very disrespectful or on point.
Okay, maybe that isn't like a sucker punch, but you basically pushed a guy. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like...
It wants to slap you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you're not coming out and saying it, but come on.
Well, first of all, if he wants to drive to Vegas,
right,
he can try to stoss him. Not to mention, too, Lord Cyrus went on his podcast and is trying to talk about how they're going to rename the Dave Meltzer Best Announcer Award after him. He thinks he's that good.
He wasn't even nominated.
Yeah, he thinks he's like the gold standard for announcing in a wrestling day.
So there you are. Effectively, Disco's trying to stir it up and say that, you know, I should be replaced on New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is a joke. And you make the comment that, well, and he's talking about how I have stated publicly, which I have, that Dave Meltzer in 2017 will have to rename the Announcer of the Year award, the Don Callis Award, because I will blow everyone away, be the top color commentator in pro wrestling. when they do those awards for 2017. And you made the comment, referencing the 2016 results and saying, well, he wasn't even nominated, which may have been a throwaway comment. But Kevin, I want to ask you something. You follow football. You guys do your little segments, sports stuff. If you had a running back who hadn't been playing on a team for, say, the 2016 season, would it be an intelligent thing to say, well, he didn't even come in the top 10 in rushing this year? I would remind you that I didn't start being a commentator until 2017. So how in the world could I have been nominated in 2016?
Right. It wouldn't be possible.
Correct. Kevin, I think statements like that really, really affect your credibility.
Yeah, and that's a misstatement by me in that moment. So I do apologize.
And it's those sorts of statements that I think, like, you're getting caught up in this BS with Disco. And then you posted a private text message conversation that I had with you because I knew you were concerned that I had threatened to stossel you, and I was trying to alleviate your concerns and say, look, my issue is really with Glenn, and I made some statements privately to you that Glenn had, from a professional perspective, crossed the line, and that if Glenn shows up in Los Angeles, which we know he won't because he's gutless, that I was going to take care of business, and you posted that publicly.
That's no disrespect. I just felt like you and Disco, Disco has what we call unique sensibilities.
He's an idiot.
You're doing your thing right now. In other words, you work in the business, so that at least puts you at a different level than Disco. And
Disco couldn't get arrested in this business. No pun intended.
And I have respect for what you guys, in Disco's case, have done and what you do. And once you sent me that message about, to me, like assaulting Disco to that nature, I just felt like I didn't want to be privy to anything that can turn into a crime. I don't want to be involved in professional fighters.
No. We all know that I would never put my hands on anyone unless it was self-defense. So I think you're sort of a little bit. But this is my point, Kevin. You can't be halfway pregnant, as they used to say back in the day. You can't be half into this thing. All of a sudden it starts to get a little bit, you're all over it, calling us the C word and everything else. But as soon as it gets a little dodgy, you're like, whoa, backpedal. Oh, I don't want any of this. I don't want any of this. This is really unfortunate. You're jumping on the bandwagon of this New Japan thing. Let me tell you. So Disco comes out, as we heard, and he says, I'll face Cyrus in Los Angeles if it gets booked on the New Japan show. If I went to Gato and I asked him to put Disco Inferno on a New Japan Pro Wrestling show, I would get laughed out of the booking room. So we all know that. So I've got a challenge for Disco, and I'm going to get to it later in the show. I'm going to close the show with it, that I don't think he is going to be able to refuse, because I'm just interested in ending this once and for all, because unfortunately he's such a pathetic troll that what he's doing is he keeps ramping it up, and now he's killing people's business. Jericho's banned him from going on other people's shows. Should just fire him. Right. But Kevin, I think you need to take care of your own business and not just follow along with Disco and perpetuate the abusive language that was used towards Lance. And I know, Lance, you're very upset about it.
Yeah, and this is where, up until recently, I didn't have an issue with you, Kevin. But we're even getting it now. You seem to be that perpetual babyface that babyfaces every side of a story looking for plausible deniability. And the C word that he mentioned was actually CS. He called us, I'll bleep it out in a second, but he called us fuckers. When it brought up on your show, it's like you deny saying it, but you keep pointing out that it was said. And you're the locker room stooge shit disturber in this situation. And that's where I've got an issue. That, we've been watching our retro ECW shows, and you're basically what Cyrus was as a gimmick in ECW during the Taz Carino feud. And obviously, since it's a crying wimp, it's like Disco is Carino, and you're stirring it up, going, hey, Taz, did you notice what Disco said? And then you're siding with Disco when he calls you on it. I think you either need to be on the sidelines, not in this, or pick a damn side.
Right. I mean, that's a very fair statement. I think that where I went wrong, or where I think I'm being misunderstood, because your read on it is completely accurate. When I sent the tweet out, there was a tweet sent by a listener that had my name on it and Disco's name on it, and referred to calling you guys that name, CS. And I didn't know if you guys had heard the show, and I didn't want to be attributed to those comments. So I did say, hey, is Disco calling them this? Is that accurate, or is it very disrespectful? Thinking more people would choose very disrespectful, and having recently seen Lance's survey about whether Disco was a dweeb or not, I was trying to continue that tradition, but I could see how it came off, and yeah, it definitely wasn't the right way to play it. But my goal was the same as it is now. I don't want to be involved in stossling. I don't want to be involved in
but here's the thing, Kevin, but what you're doing, and Konnan points it out all the time, you're not a wrestler. You're a fan. You're not part of the business. So you want to interject yourself into the business and think you're working by doing what you just said with the tweet. But then as soon as things get too wrestling for you, too real, you want to step back and be a fan again. To Lance's point, you have to pick a side. Now, I think you're an intelligent guy, and I know that you're probably in a difficult position sometimes, but I want to ask you a couple of questions, and maybe we can forgive all this other stuff. If you would just answer me honestly and stop thinking about whether you're going to be over with this guy or over with that guy, because I can tell you from personal experience, so can Lance, so can Konnan, you're never going to be liked by everyone in this business. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Okay. Would you agree that it is not just improbable, but impossible that anyone would hire the Disco Inferno to do anything in the wrestling business at a high level in 2017?
With so much going on in wrestling this year, last year I would have agreed with you 100%. I almost feel like I think there's at least a 20% chance of that happening this year, which is up maybe 20% from last year.
You mean like as a stooge or like a back rub guy or something like that?
I don't know. I could almost see him in a similar role as the role he had in WCW, like I don't know what you would call that.
It was called killing the company. So you're thinking that someone maybe who wants to kill a company might bring him in to do it. Well, I could see that, Lance.
Yeah, everyone needs the comic relief, but I think there's more people doing that now. We don't need Disco back at it.
That's true.
Well, basically I feel like that we are owed an apology from you for perpetuating this awful verbal assault, and that's really what it is. It's a form of assault. It's a form of bullying. You perpetuated it. You say you didn't mean to. You besmirched my good name by talking about how I wasn't nominated for an award that I couldn't have been nominated for. So I think it would be fair to say that you owe us an apology, and then we can call this square.
Well, I mean, what can I say? You know what I mean? I apologize, guys. My intentions were good, but I realized that, I don't know, maybe I have to do some self-reflection here. Maybe I am a bit of a shit disturber. Perhaps I need to realign my tofu. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I think that you like to talk about PMA, positive mental attitude, all the time. But when you're perpetuating this stuff and you're being a cyber bully in a sense, I don't see that that's positive mental attitude. Now, all I'm going to say is there's two ways we can look at PMA, Kevin. One is the way we're talking about now, positive mental attitude. And the other one, and this is not a threat, this is just a comment, is private medieval ass kicking.
Damn.
Because that's what's going to happen to Disco or anyone else who talks this type of stuff about Lance and I. Because unlike Disco, who can't get a job in this business to save his life, Lance and I are working in the wrestling business. So it doesn't take a lot for us to get on an airplane.
Right.
And I'm going to have a special offer for Disco at the end of the show. So, Kevin, anything you'd like to plug about yourself, please do.
I appreciate the opportunity to clear the air, guys, and instead of having animosity and or worse behind the scenes, I'm glad we could just put it out there. And I thank you for the time and the opportunity. I invite everyone to check out the Kevin Gill Show every week on audio.
That's enough. Joe, that's
Bro, straight up, I wish they would have caught you on a Wednesday when you used to PMS on me. I would have loved to have seen that Kevin Gill on that show. But, bro, you got, like, teabagged. And not just teabagged, like sour cream and chive. You got Dirty Sanchez. Like, they gave you the Hitler and the Hulk Hogan and the
my God.
The Dirty Sanchez. You gave him the rusty trombone, and then they gave you a bukkake face bath and put it on Facebook. That is what I just heard.
It was a prison rape.
You got emasculated.
I thought it was a respectable conversation.
It was a prison
Give me a break. A respectful
It
conversation.
was.
They buried you for
guy,
10 minutes.
Remember that? Do you remember the mob guy?
More, way more.
I can handle myself, and I've got thick skin, and I would never apologize. You can't.
I believe in this case,
I can't believe you apologize.
I bet you they would have respected a lot more.
You need to do this then.
Both of you left.
You need to do this. You need to apologize to me. Because you do the exact. They chastised you for doing what you do, which is basically choose both sides, and then basically you kind of like you do what you do. But if you're going to apologize to them for doing that, you also need to apologize to me.
Yeah,
because you do the same thing to me.
I disagree.
Oh my God!
They're
apologize.
What he offended by it, bro. They were legitimately offended. You're not offended. You just want an apology.
What he apologized to them for. Okay, specifically and categorically, they told him he owed them an apology for. Does Kevin owe that same apology to me?
Without a doubt, bro. Straight up.
It's not even close. Joe, our producer, who just sits back there and listens to this stuff and does not even does not choose sides. Does Kevin Gill, since he apologized to Lance and Cyrus, does he owe me an apology for doing the exact same thing to me?
When did I call you a cocksucker?
Asking Joe.
I'm just saying, okay. I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh, does he owe me an apology?
I think that would be the only appropriate thing to do right now.
Wow. I can't believe it.
Kevin, I think you.
Why was it so? Wait. Why was it so easy for you to apologize on their show after they buried you, tar and feathered you, but you think it was for DI?
I don't see it that way. They also had a very specific point that they were 100% right about. Disco has not articulated any case or point. He's just saying because A, now B. That does not compute.
Bro, you always bury him.
I know the word
popped when they were burying him on the show.
Yeah, 100% he was. He was laughing.
Then I had a 20% him.
20% chance of getting. He tried to make it sound like that he didn't want to bury me, but he couldn't help it. Yeah. Okay, because he basically tried to ignore the question.
Last year, 0.
Tried to ignore the question, and basically said I got like a 20% chance of maybe getting a rest. Bro, I have a job. I work in the business as much as Lance Storm does, because all Lance Storm does is train guys, and I do too. Okay, so they said that them and Lance Storm work in the business. I do too. I train people too. Okay, so that's like so that's comical. I mean, that's
Cyrus was wrong. His question to me was, "Do I agree that you have 0% chance?" And my answer was, "I do not agree. I think you have more of a chance than that."
No, you said it's 20%, which is 20% more than last year, which meant it was 0 the year before. And what's 20%? That's like nothing.
Well, because
you never defended
the factors.
Disco.
Why did you go on their show?
There's factors like Disco.
Why did you go
on other work? Disco. I've heard Disco attempt to be booked and not be able to take bookings. The percentage of likelihood for Disco to be working in a bigger capacity in wrestling is not just dictated by someone else's interest in him. It's also dictated by his interest in them.
What?
It's not just their interest in him, whether a company wants to bring in Disco.
Let me call a spade a spade with Cyrus.
Wants to be available for them or not.
He's not really a wrestler anymore. He does something else. I would like to say something, though. I'm a big fan of Lord Cyrus, and I have been on his yacht, and he's a very gracious host. But
been on his what?
On his yacht.
Where's it? In Winnipeg?
No, in L.A.
And okay.
He sometimes winters in L.A., his lordship.
Never.
So no apology for Disco?
Well, what would you like me to apologize for, Disco? What happened that I offended you?
You throw shade at me. Okay,
that's too vague of an allegation, sir.
It's not. You throw shade. 100%.
I might crack a joke. I might crack a joke.
When they were insulting me, you were like cracking up and laughing and stuff and everything.
So was Konnan.
You were a representative of killing the tank, of keeping it 100.
I wasn't on the show.
No, you were
laughing on the playback. I could hear you.
I was mostly laughing at you, bro. I couldn't believe that you were like emasculated, dude. You just went in there and just gave yourself up.
He didn't even fight.
Right, bro.
He sat there. You sat there. You put your gloves behind you. Put your hands behind your back, and you let them. You got down on your knees.
On behalf of
you got down on your knees. You put your hands on behind your back, and you let them just urinate all over your face.
No, so not true.
That is 100% what they stood up.
I stood up for our show and as a representative of our show. And
that was very embarrassing for our show.
On a mission of peace and friendship and respect.
Okay, let me ask you. Okay, let's do one thing because here's KG's and I heard it on the show right now. I heard it on Don Lord Cyrus show and Lance Storm, and I've had many battles with you before on the phone, and you always bring this up. Oh, I was misinterpreted. Always people misinterpret you. Okay, just to show you, and if I'm wrong, I'll apologize to you on this show. But if you're wrong, you're going to apologize to Disco. I want everybody that's listening to the show to tell us if he was a good representation of the show or if he got totally buried. Okay, and then we'll go off of that. Next week, results.
Well, I thought they treated me fairly, and the very specific points they raised, I felt I was incorrect on.
I
don't know if you're in Iran or something. I'm
in Iran, but still, I don't have to be in Iran to know. Hey, you got Dirty Sanchez and
Disco, how come Konnan doesn't have to stand by your side and stand for the show? He got suspicious relationship with Lord Cyrus. They're on boats together.
Enemies. Because he's made it very clear that he'll do whatever he can to bury me.
Right.
Okay. You, on the other hand, try to make it sound like you're very friendly stuff, but you backhandedly bury me. You know, you're maybe PMA, but you're a backstabber.